Hi, I'm Daryl Rainey from Progressive Realty Group here in Port Dover. This bright red brick building behind me is known for hosting some of the best live theater in Ontario, specializing in uniquely Canadian plays. But did you know that this building was originally built as the home of Port Dover's Town Hall? Over the years, this building has seen many changes, but it's also stayed true to its roots as an important gathering place for the Port Dover community. In this episode of Building History, our friend Katie from the Port Dover Harbor Museum shines a spotlight on this centerpiece building in Port Dover's downtown.
The story of 247 Main Street, Port Dover, starts with a bell because there was a wooden bell tower in Powell Park, which was called Market Square at the time. It's across from today's Lighthouse Theatre. In 1857, the tower was built to hold the bell, and the bell would ring out the time throughout the town. So a bell ringer was hired, and they would ring it 4 times a day, and then for funerals or fires or when needed. In 1869, the wooden bell tower was removed, and the bell was taken out and put into Port Dover's first town hall building, still in Powell Park. And eventually it would be put into the new town hall building, which is today's Lighthouse Theatre. The property was originally owned by Israel Wood Powell, the founder of Port Dover. He owned a store, and it was referred to as the Powell Block, later changing hands and names to become the Beaupre Block. Eventually, a man named Mead opened a hotel there called Mead House. So it was apartments and hotel rooms and stores on the main floor. In 1900, the building burnt to the ground. It was very quick. The store owner only had enough time to get his dog and his papers that were in the safe. The residents of the building ran out into a frigid February night, all of their belongings lost. The property was put up for sale with the Village Council of Port Dover deciding to purchase it to build their new town hall in its place. In 1889, the community started raising funds for a town clock, and in 1906 they turned over $600 to purchase one. They bought it from the Howard Clock Company of Boston, Massachusetts, and it was supposed to be unveiled for Dominion Day 1906, but it didn't make it in time. The town hall was built between 1904 and 1906. It was designed by architect Clarence Barrett and built by C. Very and Frank Slocum. So there was some excitement at the time of the building being built when 7 American yachtsmen came into Port Dover and ripped out the cornerstone of the building that had just been laid the month before. They heaved it into the street and took off. Reeve Ross heard about it, chartered a fish tug, swearing in 7 constables en route. He caught them about 5 miles offshore, and they were towed back to Port Dover. Rather than appear in court and face public shame, they settled for $25 in damages. These were prominent Erie, Pennsylvania businessmen, and they didn't want the word getting out. From the start, this building has been home to community entertainment. The first production was put on by local volunteers in 1906 as a musical. The first play was written by the town plumber. The original background and curtain of the Town Hall auditorium was painted by local artist William Edgar Cantillon that featured a beautiful mountain scene, unfortunately not there today. 1908 saw the first New Year's dance with tickets being sold for 50 cents, but if you were an unescorted lady, you got in for 10 cents. During the 1920s and 30s, no one directed more plays than Mrs. Ethel Steele. She was known for her midwinter 3-act plays that were always sold out, and she would donate the proceeds to a community cause. Upon her passing, her children donated a portrait of her, which still hangs in the auditorium today in the Lighthouse Theatre.
This is Ethel Steele, and she is one of the first people to establish live theater in this building, and some people say she's still here.
There have been reports of feeling the spirit of Ethel within the building, and she might be the one that's turning on computers and flicking pens off desks. The town hall within a small town was usually a community meeting place. Over the years, it's held many parties, elections, speakers, dances, plays, and musicals. Pauline Johnson came and spoke there once. And the Red Cross met to sew and collect material to send over to soldiers overseas during both the wars. And something particularly different about the Port Dover Town Hall was that there were stores on the main floor. It was a hardware store for many years. Port Dover Public Utility was in there for a while, selling vacuum cleaners and washing machines. And people today will still remember when there were businesses on the main floor. Throughout the 20th century, the building was used as community space, the auditorium filled with plays and shows, and these started to slow down around the 1970s, and the auditorium was boarded up.
So it was closed down for about 21 years. In 1979, Sarah Stacey from the Brantford Carpetbag Theatre came around to Port Dover and saw the building and decided that it might be a great place to house her theatre company.
The Carpetbag Theatre opened their first show in 1980 and started to form a new group under the name the Lighthouse Festival Theatre.
There are many organizations, services, and businesses within the building, and as they moved out, Lighthouse Theatre took over that space. Today, the Lighthouse Theatre is still a large building, and we have the box office, we have a woodworking shop, we have an entire half block of admin offices, we have an elevator, which didn't originally exist here, we have on the second floor a very large long bar lobby, we have a brand new green room, and we have our clock tower at the very top of everything. The bell and its mechanisms are on a weighted system. And that weighted system needs maintenance weekly because as the weight drops through the week, as it's keeping time, it's no way to bring it back up on its own. So Richard Dupp, since he was actually sick and tired of seeing the clock sitting at 4:20 for 10 years, over a decade, and decided that since our clock is so young, just 106 years old, that he would be able to fix it, and he did.
All right, well, I gotta run. I told Carl I'd help him build a ramp. Oh, but before I go, I should get my tickets to the festival. I'm sure it'll sell out in no time.
Lighthouse Theatre is known for showcasing Canadian comedy. We have over 60,000 patrons that come to our main season shows every year. On top of which, we also provide tribute band concerts, our pantomime, we have our community show, which showcases the local talent, we have March break shows for all kids of all ages, and we have a young company program, which is a summer camp. And finally, Lighthouse offers a space for the community to gather, just like they did in the very beginning when it was a town hall.
The building that houses Lighthouse Festival Theatre has been a landmark in Port Dover for many years. It's provided a space for people of all ages to be involved in and to experience live theatre. My mom even volunteers behind the scenes on many of their community shows. It's encouraging to know that such an important artistic institution has not only survived the test of time, but has also managed to grow and expand, creating opportunities within the local arts scene. And we want to wish them continued success. If you're looking to move in and around the Port Dover area, be sure to contact us at progressiverealtygroup.ca, your hometown realtor.